Folks, this is Fernando doing another video for More Survivalists, and you probably noticed I haven't been posting that much these last couple weeks. I've been pretty busy. I've actually relocated from Ireland to Spain, where I am right now. I actually can see the Mediterranean from the window right next to me. So you probably have a lot of questions which I'll try to answer in this video. Actually, this is like the fourth time I tried doing this video because there's so much stuff that I derail from when trying to explain things, and I think that the best way to go about it is to just keep it simple and as short as possible, even though this is probably going to be kind of a longer video. And then any questions that you have, any specific questions that you have, leave it in the comment section below. As always, that's sort of the idea of having the YouTube channel, correct? So I think that's a good idea. Is this going to be a video regarding survival? I think this is a video that may be helpful for understanding how life is in different places. That's maybe something that you're interested in. I think it's more about relocating and bugging out, the kind of stuff that I have covered in my second book, Bugging Out and Relocating, and would be more relevant to this video. So a few things, basically. Why did we leave? Why did we go to Ireland in the first place? Why Spain now? I guess those would be the three questions. So the thing is this, we went for Ireland in the first place because I wanted my kids to have that experience of living in an English-speaking country with that kind of experience of culture, which I had myself. When I was little, I lived in Boston myself, so that's something that has always been a great asset for me. It's always been a very useful tool. Like right now, I'm speaking in English with you guys, and sometimes I get asked about where did I learn English or my accent and such. That's the reason why. I wanted my kids to have that as well. It's not the same thing just go to school or learn English or any other language just by studying it as it is living in that place. And it's not just the language, it's the experience of experiencing a different culture from your own. That really opens your mind a lot. It makes you a more worldly person, which is valuable in so many ways. It's hard to put in a single video, of course. So I wanted that for them. Why not the United States? Well, the United States has always been my first option. The thing is that it's very difficult to move to the United States, in spite of what a lot of people think and what a lot of people say. Thing is, guys, that most people speak out of their asses. They really have no idea what they're talking about. That's the simple reality regarding most topics that you see people talk about. 99.99% of the people that talk about immigration have actually never done it themselves. They think that it's so easy to go here and there. They think that being an illegal is a piece of cake or whatnot. It's not something that I would do myself. It's not something that I would have my children do either. So even friends of mine, and this, guys, I mean it with people with very good intentions, have told me, half joke, half serious, hey, why don't you just come over? Everyone here is coming. There's millions of illegals. You can be one more of them. What's the damage? You're actually a great guy and would be a great addition to the country. And that's funny and all, but it's in reality, it's awful. In reality, that's not something that I would do to my children, myself, and not something that I would wish upon anyone. You would be always with that uncertainty. Even the United States being so difficult to immigrate to, even with the visas, the different visas that you have, most of them you have to renew every year or every couple of years. You're basically in a limbo. You don't really enjoy all the freedoms and liberties that Americans do as someone holding a visa until you actually have either citizenship or a green card, and that takes about 10 years. So it's really complicated, and one of the best ways to go about it is actually have a big corporation, a big company sponsor you, have them handle your visa issues and such. That's usually how most people do it the right way. In my case, I don't have that, so it's not really much of a possibility. and all the other options I had were really not something that I was looking forward to. So keeping all that in mind, and that I do have Spanish citizenship, meaning European citizenship, I had Europe as my options. England, Scotland, Ireland. Of all those, Ireland was definitely the one that I liked the most. England, I don't really like it that much. Scotland is okay, but just too close to England maybe, or too similar. It's all part of the same island. On the other hand, on the island across Great Britain, you have the island of Ireland. And in Ireland, for you guys are not familiar with, because a lot of people simply don't know this, Ireland as the island, you actually have two countries in there. You have Northern Ireland, which is the northeastern part of the province of Ulster, so as to put it some way. And then the rest of the island is Republic of Ireland, what most people think of when they think of Ireland. Now, the thing is that half of the population of Northern Ireland think of themselves as, normal, average Irish people, which they actually are. So it's just that one part of the island is under UK rule. In Northern Ireland, they use the British pound, and the government is the UK government. The other is a different country entirely. It's not like Scotland, which is part of the UK. Republic of Ireland, it's not part of UK. It's a completely separate, different country. Now, for all practical terms, if you're living in Ireland, you're driving around, you won't even get any borders or anything like that. There won't be any passport being checked or checkpoints or anything. You just drive around, and basically you notice that you are in Republic of Ireland or Northern Ireland, because you'll see the signs in Republic of Ireland, and you'll see them both in English and in Irish language. While on the other hand, in Northern Ireland, it's just in English. And if you buy something, you're going to be paying in British pounds in Northern Ireland, and you're going to be paying in euros in Republic of Ireland, pounds in Northern Ireland. So basically that was what I was looking at. And when we were deciding to go to Ireland, and we were wondering which was best, Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, the appeal back in the day, remember, it's been 4 years that we left Argentina. We lived in Ireland for 4 years. What we were wondering between Republic of Ireland or Northern Ireland, the thing is that Republic of Ireland had just started to recover from a very severe economic crisis, and things have changed since then. Actually, last year, Republic of Ireland has been the fastest growing economy of all European countries. So it's gone a long way since then. We didn't like that much with the Irish language, even though many schools don't have any Irish language in Ireland, and many schools just have maybe 1 hour a week of Irish, which is, I would be okay with that. But then again, we had found in Northern Ireland, we found a very nice neighborhood with a great school, and the cost of living in Northern Ireland is usually cheaper as well. So, all that kept in mind, especially having already a nice place in mind and a great school, we just went for that. It's been great for years, but as time passes, your own personal circumstances change, which is something that I've explained quite a bit in videos, in articles, but most of all in Bugging Out and Relocating. I explained that your own personal circumstances, when considering where you're going to be bugging out, when considering where you are going to be relocating, if that's what you have in mind, your own personal circumstances dictate very strongly what you're going to be going for. All right, that's why it's very difficult to give you a one-for-all answer regarding anywhere, any place you'll be living in. It's not the same circumstances that you have. I mean, personally, it's not the same circumstances when I was a 20-year-old, when I was just married, when I was just married with a baby, or like now that I'm the father of a teenager, right? Those are things that have been changing over time. It's not going to be the same thing when I'm a 40-year-old guy, when I'm a 50-year-old guy, when I'm an 80-year-old guy, right? All those things will dictate what you really need and even what you want from where you're living. Yes, of course, the ideal, in many ways, you try to settle for a place. We always knew that Ireland was not the place where we're going to be staying for good permanently, and that's been exactly what happened. Now, what we really liked about Ireland is that it was very, very safe. It was a very quiet life. The thing that we really didn't like about Ireland is the weather. I'm a cloudy weather type of guy. It doesn't really bother me if it's raining, cloudy and such, or at least that's what I thought. And I still believe the same thing. It really doesn't put me down a few rainy days or even several of them. In fact, for maybe the first couple years, I was pretty much okay with. Now the thing is that in Ireland, as well as in England and Scotland, of course, you have a specific weather that's pretty bad. Meaning it's not awfully cold. It rains a lot, but rain is not that much of a big deal. In general, what I would say, personally and from other people that I've talked to as well, the thing is the gray, cloudy thing. That's the lack of sunshine. That's what really gets to you in the long run. So yeah, after 4 years, the main reason why we decided to leave was the weather was already affecting us quite a bit, and we weren't really enjoying it anymore. Second, the second big reason was that as a parent of a teenage son, I had to take other things into consideration as well. And here specifically, I'm talking about something that only happens in Northern Ireland. In the Republic of Ireland, it's not that much of a big deal, but Northern Ireland actually has an awful reputation pretty much around the world, and even within the European Union specifically, as a pretty bad place to live, mostly because of the Troubles. If you're not familiar with what the Troubles is this situation in Northern Ireland where the more Irish, the Republican part of society, which is mostly Catholic, was for many years there was a sort of a situation where the ruling party was the Loyalists, which the Loyalist party, the Loyalist section of society, part of the society is a Protestant one that feels more affiliated with the English, with the UK rule. While on the other hand, you have the Catholic population. So you have the Catholics and the Protestant pretty much clashing for those years that were considered the Troubles, right? And the thing is that was supposed to have ended with a Good Friday Agreement, but in reality, there's still a lot of that floating around, and the society in Northern Ireland is very much divided. You're either Catholic or you are a Protestant, and the joke goes that if you say that you're an atheist, that you don't believe in anything, okay, are you a Catholic atheist or a Protestant one? There's no escaping that. You have to be in either one. Now, as people that come from outside, we really weren't that much involved in any of that, of course, but we are of course Catholics. Like 90% of Latin America, which is a Catholic as well. But it's curious because we were living actually in a Protestant neighborhood, and they really didn't consider you. Their idea of a Catholic is an Irish Catholic, Republican person, right? Someone that is against the British government and has a specific. They have their own profile. It has to be Irish for them for you to be their idea of Catholic. Now, Northern Ireland is also pretty much, it's actually quite hostile in terms of immigrants, and especially the Loyalist population over there, the Protestant population, especially the more extreme one. They really don't like anyone that is of any other religion, of any other skin color, of anything that is not a white Protestant from Northern Ireland. So there's lots of stuff, like immigrants having their houses painted with stuff, or kicked out of their homes and such. It actually has a pretty sad name. It's considered the racist capital of Europe, Northern Ireland. I haven't seen any of that affecting us directly, probably because we lived in a pretty good neighborhood, all things considered, and in general, because there is a lot of that all over the place, as I realized. Mostly some of the worst stuff happens in more of the working class, as to put it some way, parts of town, but you do have that reality all over Northern Ireland. Not so much in Republic of Ireland. So that's why I usually recommend, if someone is considering Ireland, having been over there and seeing how both places work out, I think that Republic of Ireland would be the best option. Then again, what happens a lot is that people move back and forth all the time. There's lots of people from Republic of Ireland that move to Northern Ireland because of work reasons. They found a good job, they move over there, spend a few years there, or people from Northern Ireland going to the south, what they call the south, as a Republic of Ireland, and they go live over there for some time. So there's a lot of moving back and forth, as you would expect. Guys, keep in mind that you get in a car, 15 minutes later you are in one place or the other, basically, or maybe a couple hours at the most, because it's not really that big of a place. So all those things kept in mind, it's not that much of a big deal when you have small kids. Like when I moved to Northern Ireland in the first place. With small children, schools are fantastic, the teachers are great. That's been our experience over there in Northern Ireland. And you know, it's actually it's a great little place to live with a family if you want to stick to, you know, your own thing and be unbothered. Pretty much everyone sticks to themselves and such. One of my neighbors actually was joking that you just say hi to each other only in summer, and summer lasting only a couple of weeks. Over there, it's most of the time people sticking to their own thing and living behind their own closed doors. We like that, and we still do, but I don't think it's the way we want to be living the rest of our lives. You know, we're more of we like something a little bit more friendly, a little bit more interaction with people, with friends and such. I had neighbors over there that I went and say hi to and started talking with, and when asking them, they would tell me, yeah, I have no idea who lives over there, and that pretty much was, I'd say, oh man, 4 or 5 out of 7, 4 or 5 out of 6 neighbors of mine over there, they pretty much didn't know anything about the guy living down the street. So it's pretty much everyone sticking to themselves, and that is very strongly linked to the past that they have over there in terms of the troubles. Everyone is sticking to their own business and not getting involved in anything, and you know, that's maybe a legacy that they have of a little bit of a darker past. But it's very much still part of the culture in Northern Ireland, that it's very linked to something that's you know, very hateful. The Protestant community over there, every year they have these marches. Well, they have marches all the time, pretty much you know, displaying. They have this thing that's called the Orange Order, which is, it's kind of like the KKK, but against Catholics instead of against black people. So they have these marches of the Orange Order. They have these, they do it, one thing, the biggest celebration in Northern Ireland, at least for the Protestant community, is the 12th night bonfires. And these are bonfires where they are again reminded of a battle against against a Catholic king that they overthrew or something like that. And well, the point is that during those festivities, which is the biggest party in Northern Ireland, they burn flags from other countries, and they burn symbols of Catholic communities and such. So yeah, you may be wondering, why would a Catholic go there in the first place? Because that would be the negative side of Northern Ireland. But then it had lots of great things, which I've always talked about, and you know, they still exist. But as when you have as an adult, you can just stay away from that. As a child, you can stay away from that. As a teenager, it really starts affecting the way in which you perceive reality around you. Right? This is a video maybe a little bit more complex, but the kind of thing that parents really pay attention to, at least responsible ones like myself. So for little kids, not so much of a big deal, but when teenagers, you know, start talking about things, start talking about, you know, you're not supposed to talk to these kind of people or that kind of people, the racism is very strong. And I know that racism is kind of a hot button topic within the survival community, within anyone, especially on on the conservative right-leaning part of the survival community. There's even guys that have told me there's no such thing as racism. And I was, you know what, you haven't lived enough, my friend, because there is. I mean, it does really exist. And if you think that way, probably you haven't suffered it yourself. You haven't ever seen it, but I have seen it firsthand. I know what it is, and it is very real. So when in a place like Northern Ireland, you really perceive that, you know, it's very palpable. It's very, you know, it's very tangible. It's all over the place. So that's maybe not the kind of thing that you would want for a teenager. At least we didn't. So those two things would probably be the bigger, the more important factors why we decided to move from Ireland. Of course, the first question would be, why didn't you go to maybe Republic of Ireland, which is just 15 minutes away from where you were living, and you know, it does not have. It's actually very interesting because Republic of Ireland is very friendly, open to everyone. That's where most of immigrants go. Most immigrants don't dare go to Northern Ireland because of that reputation that the place has. When you live there yourself, especially in a nicer community, not that much of a problem, but most will stick to Republic of Ireland. So it would have been very easy for us to just move to Republic of Ireland. But remember, the biggest thing for us was the weather. The weather was the thing that really brought us down the most. So even though those two things were the main factors why we decided to leave, the weather was definitely the most important one. Again, we knew what we would be encountering when we moved over there, but after 4 years, it really starts putting things into perspective, and the next step is considered. So, haven't made up our minds about not living there anymore, especially because of the damp, rainy, cloudy conditions year-round. We went for Spain. Why Spain? Well, first of all, I am a Spanish citizen. My family, I have lots of family in Spain, so it's pretty much like a second home for me. Why didn't we go to Spain in the first place? Well, again, we wanted our kids to experience life over there. And learn the language, have the experience of living in such a place. The thing with Spain is that it has lots of great things, and guys, like everywhere in the world, you will have, in every single country that you consider, it will have its negatives, its positives, you know, sides that you like, sides that you don't like that much. The things that I was explaining about Northern Ireland are actually some of the very few negative things that a place has. Still a great place to live. Again, I would go, hindsight 2020, I would go maybe for Republic of Ireland instead, unless you have a great opportunity or you have family over there in Northern Ireland. Then you're probably better off there, and maybe drive back and forth, check out each one, see which one you like the best. In Spain, one of the things I didn't like about it is that many parts of Spain don't even speak Spanish. Okay, so simple enough, you just look for the places in Spain where Spanish is still spoken, which would be the center and south. We're actually in the south of Spain right now. What is that we like? I mean, weather is fantastic. I'm sweating like a pig right now because it's very hot. I'm keeping everything you know, well ventilated, but it's really hot here. And in summer, maybe too hot. Now the rest of the year is simply fantastic. You're living in a very pleasant spring, pretty much year round. Just a couple hard months in summer. While the opposite, in Ireland, you would live the entire year under a cloud, wet because it was raining all the time, and you would maybe have a couple of weeks of somewhat summer. And some of my friends over there were telling me, in some years we don't even have summer at all. I think this year was particularly bad. The worst of the 4 years that I spent in Ireland was this year. Pretty much no summer whatsoever. You were just with a jacket up to here in the middle of summer. Yeah, it's kind of gets old eventually. So a fantastic weather, a fantastic food as well. Spain, you know, I have the beach just 200 meters away from here. I'm actually looking at the Mediterranean from my window right now. Very friendly people. You know, that's one of the things for what Spain, especially the south of Spain, is known for. It's extremely friendly, extremely welcoming for pretty much everyone from everywhere. You walk across the street and you hear people talking, you know, so many languages, and you see people from all over the place. This is very much the opposite of Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland was very close, and only the bravest dared move over there as immigrants, as foreigners, especially in some of the rougher places. Here it's the exact opposite. Very friendly people, just engage in conversation all the time. They're never trying to avoid you in any way. So it's an extremely nice weather, extremely friendly people, great food, lots of good things. It has a few negatives as well, of course, like all other places have. One of the things I really don't like is the bureaucracy here is pretty bad. It actually reminds me a little bit of Argentina. You know, ridiculous stuff like, you know, you bring you're a citizen of the country, you have your passport, and you have to bring a birth certificate certificated by an office in Madrid, for example. And you know what? Now give me a break. You know that I was born somewhere. I already registered my, you already did all of this before. But this is very typical of here in Spain. You have to bring the paper with the stamp of the signature of the God knows what. You have to leave it in a table. A pigeon has to pick it up, drop it in a tree over there. A guy with a beard will just pick it up, stamp it, and it's that kind of ridiculous thing. Oh, on the other hand, in Ireland, it was just yeah, my name is Fernando, my phone number is this, my address is that, and that was all the information that was needed for pretty much everything. It was so much easier and more simple. Not so much here. So yeah, those would be some, and as time goes by, I'm sure going to be seeing a little bit more of some things I don't like. Maybe not seeing things, discovering anything particularly new, but again, as time goes by, those things that you already knew you would be encountering maybe start getting to you a little bit more, bothering you a little bit more. Man, a very busy couple of weeks, but so far great. Guys, if you want to learn more about this kind of stuff, about how you should approach relocating anywhere, the stuff that I cover in Bugging Out and Relocating will definitely help you. It's actually a two-part book. Bugging Out would be half of it. The other one is Relocating, as in any country, the thing that you should be considering looking for. Some interesting facts about the difference between Ireland and Spain. For example, when I got to Northern Ireland, one of the first things I wanted to do was stock up my first aid kit. Wanted to get some alcohol. You cannot buy in Northern Ireland, or pretty much anywhere in UK for that matter, you cannot buy alcohol as an antiseptic. They simply do not sell it because apparently people drink it over there. Yeah, they do drink a lot. That would be another negative aspect of Ireland and UK in general. So they do not sell rubbing alcohol like you would find in any other normal pharmacy. What they do sell is this thing called methylated spirits, which is alcohol with some purple crap thrown in it that gives it an awful taste if you try to drink it, and it's actually poisonous. Some say that it's just so that people don't avoid buying the actual booze, which is much more expensive. One of the things in Spain is like it's half the price over here, like beer and all that stuff. So I don't drink myself, maybe a beer every few months, if that. But something that I found very interesting. I wanted alcohol not only for wounds and such, but also for the Trangia stove, which uses alcohol. Yeah, it was pretty much impossible, but here you can find it anywhere. Sunscreen, man, you have to carry sunscreen with you all the time. I'm already pretty tanned, but it gets quite bad. Your EDC is all important, and your sunglasses, these are mandatory. I use these in Ireland. I'm using these here every day as well. great stuff to have. Finally, one of the nice things about Spain is that there are a lot more, there's not as much of a problem with knives. A locking blade in UK and in Ireland, both places, is an awful deal, and you just cannot, unless you're actually doing, and I've covered this in previous videos, unless you're doing a specific activity so as to justify it, you just cannot have with you a locking blade simply because you feel like having one. Here in Spain, as long as it's, I think it's under 11 centimeters or something like that, no problem having a locking knife with you all day long. And yeah, that would be pretty much it. Just a few fun facts to mention. But I'm going to be covering some of these this sort of stuff in future videos, explaining specifically how I adjusted EDC gear and stuff specifically for Spain. So again, guys, that's going to be all for now. Remember to subscribe. Take care. See you on our next video.